Carson was 17 when she got pregnant with Lexi. Lexi was very advanced for her age. She was riding at 6 months. And about that same time, she started having night terrors. It was breaking my heart to watch Lexi have to go through this.
One time I was buckling her sister in the truck. We were gonna go to my mother's house, and she starts talking, and I asked her who she was talking to, and she pointed to our neighbor's yard. She said, "The little boy right there." I was like, "What little boy?" She said, "Him, he's too like me." I didn't think much of it because most kids have imaginary friends. I asked her if she had ever seen him before, and she said yes. He follows her everywhere.
She started looking out the windows and saying, "Oh no, they're coming." "No, it's okay, Lexi, there's no one here." And it just went on for several months until it finally got to where you just weren't paying any more attention. As soon as she said, "Oh no, they're coming," you wouldn't even look anymore. Just said, "There's no one here, Lexi." And then just one day, out of the blue, she said, "Oh no, they're here." Well, they're finally here, so we all just stopped immediately. Of course, I look out the door now, and I said, "There's no one here, sweetheart." And she said, "Yes, there is." She turned and looked at my daughter, Brooklyn. She says, "And they want to hurt you." Things started to turn a little scarier, I think, at this point. We were in the backyard playing one afternoon, and there were several of us out there. Lexi's playing in the dirt, and she gets up and walks over to the tree line, and she's standing there talking. I said, "Who are you talking to?" And she goes, "To those people." She says, "There are 2 of them." So we're all looking at each other thinking, what are we getting ready to find out now? So I said, "What do they look like?" And she turned around, looked at me, and she goes, "They're on fire." I was trying to ask her more questions about them. I said, "Do you know who they are?" She goes, "They are a mommy and a daddy."
I didn't know how to feel about that. It was a little scary.
Lexi's seeing something that I can't see. It's one thing to have an imaginary friend. She says she sees it. She's not old enough to lie to me yet. How in the world is this baby going to come up with seeing people who aren't there? My son Garrett is now 22, but from a very early age, he would tell me things, not unlike Lexi. But when Garrett was 15 months old, he scared the life out of me. We were asleep. He sat up in the bed, and he says, "Oh, Mama, look, there him is." It's pitch black. I'm trying to look around the room thinking, is somebody in this room? I said, "Who is it, Garrett?" Garrett said, "That man." And he points over there. I said, "Garrett, there's no one there." I said, "Well, Garrett, what does he look like?" And he says, "Oh, Mama, him's got big, beautiful wings." He puts his arms out like that. I reached over and I grabbed my son, and I said, "Who is it?" He says, "Oh, it's God." I said, "Garrett, how do you know who God is?" He said, "Because, Mama, I lived with him before I was your little boy." I feel bad because some of the things that Garrett says that he saw, Lexi is describing the same things. It's not that I didn't want to believe him and I believe Lexi. I didn't know to believe Garrett at that time.
Alexis is terrified of planes. Every time one flies overhead, she'll usually scream and run to the nearest person and hold on to them for dear life.
Lexi had just turned 2, and we were visiting my parents, and we were sitting outside on the lawn furniture, and a plane flew over, and Lexi's burying her head, screaming, "That plane is going to fall, it's going to catch on fire, it's going to fall." I'm like, where did that come from? It's not going to catch on fire, Lexi. It was real fear. Carson had decided one day in the backyard to ask her, "Have you ever been on a plane?" And Lexi answered her, "Yes." which kind of shocked us all because Lexi has never been on a plane. We said, "What happened to your plane, Lexi?" And she goes, "It's raining, lots and lots of rain." She said, "And thunder." I said, "Was there a storm?" She goes, bad storm. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, No. I want to help Lexi through this so that there's some sort of resolve. When my son was going through this, I was too busy. I hope to atone for my ignorance back with Garrett. I wanted some answers about this plane so that I could help Lexi. One day while I was in Lexi's room picking up her toys, I run across a coloring page, and I picked it up, and just as I crumbled it up to throw it away, I realized that there were numbers written on the page, and it said 866. I thought, oh, somebody was writing down one of those 800 numbers and didn't finish it. I went ahead and wadded up and threw it in the garbage, and then I got thinking, no one's been here. She just colored those. So I come in here and I got it back out of the garbage, and I looked at it again. So I thought, well, it's worth a shot. So I typed in plane crash of flight 866. I didn't really turn up anything, so I threw it away again. But I couldn't get it out of my mind. I just felt like the 866 was there for a reason. I got it out again, and I laid it on the desk, and I kept thinking about 866. What could this be? So it hit me. August being the 8th month of 1966. So I typed in plane crash of August 1966, and up pops this horrible plane crash. So I'm hoping that we can find out more about this crash. I know from her descriptions that there was a lot of rain, thunder, and lightning. She was on board with a younger sister. This plane caught on fire and broke apart while it was still in the air. It was a passenger plane. During a bad thunderstorm, there had to be 2 sisters very close in age on board this plane. So I typed in plane crash of flight 866. I didn't really turn up anything, but then I typed in plane crash of August 1966. And up pops this horrible plane crash. The plane was caught in an up squall, rotated to the left, and then it began a nosedive. And in that nosedive, the plane caught on fire and began to break apart. So I pulled up a passenger list of the plane. The first name on the list was a military serviceman. The very next 2 names were sisters, a Nancy Chamberlain, age 18, and a Susan Chamberlain, age 15. Could this be Lexi? What happened when you were on the plane?
I fall.
You fell?
I fell.
Lexi's still remembering her past life, maybe with a little bit more age on her, better communication skills. She'll be able to reveal a lot more. We're getting a journal, and we're going to take everything that Lexi has given us, writings and her drawings, and we're going to keep up with every little detail as it comes through. That will help us find out who she was in the past. Okay, you know what? I've got some great ideas. You know what we're gonna start doing together? We're gonna get a book with lots of paper in it. And we're gonna start coloring pictures about things that you see, things that you remember, or things that you dream about. As she gives us more details, we're just gonna keep adding those details in and try to pin it down to which one we think it actually fits.
If she is experiencing something such as a past life experience, I would think it would be pretty cool. It probably would sway my belief towards it.
Hopefully over time, we'll have Lexi's book finished and we'll have her closure.